Hello, so just get the lighting a bit better. There we go. And I'll do the pop-out chat, and then I can put the pure white screen on that and also improve the lighting. White screen, there we go, with the pop-out chat. Right, hopefully we get some people on. Because obviously if it doesn't send this out to people, then there's no point doing the stream. Right, I don't know sodium chloride, so I've got this weekend booked off work, so can actually be doing the stream on the Saturday. Can't do one at all tomorrow, but I can do one today. So yeah, if you didn't see, I did a video on this mask that went live earlier. Check that out, because obviously quite often YouTube doesn't share my videos with subscribers, which is annoying. So yeah, so let me go back to that and do the pop-out chat. Can't be on massively long though today because I do have some other jobs. All right, Rich. So yeah, this is the Chinese. What was it called? MF19, wasn't it? Yeah, MF19. Yeah, Hype sent this me. Seems a pretty good mask. It's very comfortable for one of those industrial ones. Quite soft rubber, 6-strap head harness rather than some of the masks that only have 5. Don't know if it's GOST or NATO. I'd assume GOST if it's Chinese domestic, but a NATO filter I put on it seemed to fit all right. So yeah. And it's kind of got a bit of a weird visor because that bit is quite flat, but then it goes forwards in a like sphere. So from the side it looks quite round, but from that angle it looks quite flat. But yeah, it's because the plastic sort of isn't the full sphere, it's sort of molded to the shape of the mask. So if I hold my head like that, maybe that angle, yeah, you can sort of see where the curve in the plastic changes around. Well, in what sense? The stuff behind me moves all the time, because every time I do a bloody stream, people go, pick that thing up, all that sort of stuff. And then, where's this, where's that? So there's no point trying to organise stuff when people, that particular sort of stuff. Because the most recently looked at thing or requested thing will be on top, basically. I said, we'll see if we get some people on, but I can't stay on stream too long today because I do need to get some other stuff done, even though I've got this weekend booked off work. Can't, like I said, stay on too long. So I'll get that off for now.
So I can put my glasses on and read the chat a bit more efficiently. But yeah, like I said, so if you haven't seen the video yet, watch that after the stream. Quite a competent mask. If I just go back to this mode, I'll just put this like this so you can see sort of what the... Don't want to, again, knock the webcam and then have to put that back in its place. But there you go. So you can see there's a bit of, like, distortion to it, but not massive. It's a pretty good panoramic lens on this one. And obviously has got a voice diaphragm in here. So that's a good thing. You can actually hear people with the mask on all right. So, yeah. So that's that. I'll put that just there on the table for now. And I hope I don't knock anything. Yeah, so hopefully we get some more people on. So, yeah, but anyway, it is nice to have a weekend where I'm not at work, even if I'm going to be... Tomorrow should be nice. I'm at my cousin's wedding, but it's one of those things where sometimes those are a bit exhausting when you're out all day, you know, like traveling, then doing a social thing like that all day. So obviously, really nice family thing to go to, but quite often with something like that, you know, it doesn't feel like a relaxing day at all. So, yeah, anyway, but I'm looking forward to it, obviously. And I need to get a video film to put on tomorrow about one of my DACs. I haven't done a video on yet, but it's one of those typically annoying things where I keep forgetting to do a video on it, even though I've had it a week or so. So there's that. Apologies if I'm a bit hiccupy. Had lunch about 30 minutes before I did the stream, so obviously... No, I haven't seen that, Rich. I don't really follow up with him, obviously. I did see one of his videos randomly being shoved into my thing, and obviously I didn't watch it because, you know, channels I actually sub to don't often turn up on my feed, but people like him do. Well, the UK government hates the British people, basically. That's the only way of putting it. I don't know sodium chloride. And yeah, so they are obsessed with tearing down British flags. Obviously, I've got an English flag behind me there. Just because, again, it makes people seethe who don't like this country. And like I said, it's a weird thing. Like I said, so it's a weird thing that you know, so a lot of people now are putting the flags up on purpose because it's agitating all the people that live in this country but hate this country, sort of thing. You know, the people that rather than just going to the countries they love, I don't know if they have any countries they love, but, you know, it's let's destroy everything about this country people actually want, you know, and like. So we'll see if there's any stuff on the news about that, because I did see a bit earlier when I was having lunch that there was like a massive protest again somewhere. In London, the lovely city of London, 5 people hospitalised after petrol bombing at London restaurant. So there's that. But I can't see much of the stuff at the moment about all the protests that were going on again today and this weekend about, you know, the asylum hotels and everything else. Oh, wait, no, the Telegraph has a thing on it. I'll go to that. So, rival groups clash at migrant hotel protest. So, 10:27 a.m., Starmer faces Labour Council revolt over migrant hotels. 10:32 a.m., hotel closure must be orderly, says Home Secretary. 11:06 a.m., close the hotels and let us work, says Epping asylum seeker. No, because you've come to this country illegally, you can fuck off. 12:44 p.m., that's me saying that bit, that's not what it says in the thing. Pictured protesters take to the streets in Perth. And although one of the pictures says it's in Bristol, so that's different. And 1:34 p.m, mounted police keep Bristol protesters apart. So I think it depends which protests, the ones where people have been bashing each other with signs. So I'll go back to the chat in a minute. I'm just looking at, and there's the refugees welcome stand up to racism set of what would you call them, traitors? I'm trying to think of a good word for people like that are paid agents that hate this country. They put Victory in Perth as the last of a demoralised group of racists and far-right activists who wanted to harass refugees and moved away. More like the police moved them away from you because you're a lot of like little wimpy left-haired, green-haired, whatever you want to call them. A lot would have had the shit kicked out of them if something went down. So they'll just stand yelling Nazi scum from behind a police line, but they'd never say it to somebody's face because they get punched in the face. Anyway, let me go back to the chat. Yeah, that doesn't sound good, Rich. I on purposely don't have notifications on for Reddit for that reason. That I think at one point I did have them on for things I actually followed, and yeah, quickly got just pissed off with the sheer amount of notifications I was getting for stuff that was not relevant to me at all. Note says, "Good day, mate." Well, pretty much good night at this point. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, I'm said I've got a day off work today. This weekend off work, booked off, so that's good. All right, Saint. So yeah, for the people who come on, I was just reading about some more of the like protests slash whatever you want to call it, civil disobedience going on in various places. So yeah, that's very interesting. Like I said, I don't know if there'll be any fighting kicking off anywhere. I'm not encouraging violence, obviously, but if you get two groups of very opposed people. Well, get out of those two, Saint, or do you mean just in knives in general? If so, I don't really know in knives in general because I haven't bought any new knives in ages. out of those two, the FS knife I find is a lot more fun and interesting. Obviously, like the big MOD blade is really good. A MOD knife is good if you want like a really good bushcraft type knife. But and again, the FS knife you can't really use for anything practical because of what it was designed for. But I kind of find the FS knife just more interesting. Again, with if you wanted a good practical knife, I'm sure there's like I'm sure there are people that do like bigger variants of Swiss Army knives, you know, as in not necessarily UK street legal, but yeah, like I said, the MOD knife would if I had a shit hit the fan kit like on my body armor, I'd want the MOD knife rather than an FS as the main knife on that, because obviously the MOD knife you can use for breaking stuff up, chopping wood apart, stuff like that. The FS knife is definitely the kind of knife that, and again, I need to keep being very careful to say, you know, in theoretical scenarios, whatever, because we live in a police state, and I don't want it to sound like I'm encouraging violence, especially because we were talking about protests just now. This is a totally unrelated subject, but the FS knife, if I had it on some post-apocalyptic stuff, would be somewhere you could grab it really quickly if you were like grappled to the floor or somebody got you in a headlock, so you could just, you know, pull it out and stab them with it. So I don't know, like somewhere on your leg or somewhere like that for the FS knife, because there was like I've seen a load of things recently where people were saying if somebody got you in a chokehold and was trying to kill you, you know, what's the best way to fight back? And I thought surely the best way to fight back would be if you had an accessible knife like an FS, would just be to get that out and stab them with it rather than trying to pull their thing away from your neck and flip around. Yeah, again, they're made by one of the Sheffield steel companies, aren't they? So they are good proper ones, not like cheap tat ones. But yeah, that's the price of the world we live in. And I did see Labour want to raise taxes on even more stuff because they've already lost all the money they stole from us the first time round. So yeah, there's that. So yeah, as you know, my streams are getting a bit more political recently, just because, like I said, everything in the UK is getting so shit now that it seems like you can't really do anything like this without talking about politics. But yeah, let's see, is there any more chat messages I missed? Now, like I said before, I didn't know sodium chloride. Most people here have no problem with people that came to any of the countries we live in and integrated and like worked hard and all that, you know, isn't a skin color thing or whatever. If, you know, people have come over and they've done all those things, it's not an issue. The really big problem is obviously in the last, like say 20 years or so, we've had loads of people come over who don't want to assimilate, who, you know, have very different views of the world than like, you know, Western sort of views, if you like. And especially now, because in the UK now we're getting lots of illegal immigrants that we're being forced to pay for. Because again, Australia gets mentioned a lot with that because you sent them to Nauru, didn't you? But sadly, our government is too pussy to do anything like that. So basically, we have to keep, giving loads and loads of money for them to live in, you know, fairly good accommodation, better than lots of people have that are on the poverty line, or, you know, definitely people that are homeless, way better than them. And then, you know, they go out and commit crimes, work illegally and all that while they're doing their piss take asylum claims. And I know not every asylum seeker is like that, but nearly all the ones that come in on the boats illegally, I bet money, is fucking like that. So there you go. Again, all in my opinion, you know. Like I said, and to keep making it obvious, I do not, you know, encourage people to do anything stupid, anything violent, whatever, you know. I'm just saying, because like I said, I'm not going to any of these protests that might turn into a fight that are going on in loads of places, you know. But yeah, so that's the insane world we live in. Let's go have a look at this thing that's going on live of various protests. So rival protests got underway in Bristol, Cannock, Perth, Exeter, Hawley and Tamworth this morning. Here is the running order for those abolish asylum system protest still to come this afternoon. 1 p.m. Liverpool, 1 p.m. Mould, 1 p.m. Newcastle, 1 p.m. Nuneaton, 2 p.m. Wakefield, 3 p.m. London. That'll be interesting. That's out in the Britannia Hotel one in Canary Wharf, where the police tried to stop people protesting outside it. 6 p.m. West Hill, Aberdeen. Oh, they've put them up there in a fucking Hilton hotel, apparently. But yeah, very interesting. No, I haven't heard of this, Saint. So what's this? Can you tell me exactly what it's called so I can look into it? Or is it something I haven't voted on yet? So again, more control. Well, you know that's going to just lead to make more proper encryption services, don't you? Chat control, right? Let me search this. British chat control. Again, and I need to find a thing that sums it up properly, not something that isn't, you know. Again, I don't really know if I trust the gov.uk thing. Again, this is just on about the online safety thing, not the thing I'm looking at. But yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. Because I can see stuff about the EU chat control thing, but not one in Britain. Right, yeah, well... But yeah, the thing is, they're not going to get a lot of these companies to comply with it, because I know they can threaten to sue them and stop people using it. But that's like stopping people using VPNs or whatever. It's just not going to work. Did you see as well, this won't surprise people, and I can't remember if I said on the stream or not, you know, of MPs' expenses, turned out loads of MPs, the ones that voted for all the Online Safety Act stuff, now are fucking charging us on their MPs' expenses for VPNs. Last time I was on the stream, I had the Ingsoc t-shirt on, but I haven't got that on this one because I put it out for washing. But yeah, I did have my 1984 shirt on Wednesday or whenever I last did a stream. Or was it yesterday I did the stream? I can't remember now. Whenever I last did a stream. So yeah, what I'm going to do a bit later this afternoon is put some of the live streams on. Yeah, I think it was yesterday, wasn't it? Because I think Wednesday was the day where my internet... Again, I think with all this shit, they're not going to ever manage it. Because again, the thing you have to understand is even if they have the most, like, you know, nasty kind of criminal intentions of how they want to, you know, restrict people, bear in mind proper police states often can't manage this stuff. And we've got, like, a joke of a police state here, which can't fucking manage anything. So, you know, we've got Ingsoc at home, basically, Britain. So, you know, even if they want to backdoor VPNs, people will switch to VPNs that don't have the backdoors in. So, yeah, I reckon, you know, this, because there's already some foreign companies that are telling Britain to literally fuck off with this stuff, which is quite funny. That, you know, where they're going like, oh, if you want to operate in Britain, you have to comply with this, or we're issuing you a fine, and the company's saying like, we're not paying it, you know, and we're still going to operate our website in Britain, have us taken down. And I did see as well, I think the Yanks are now putting certain things on like lists or something to do with Britain, but I can't remember exactly what it was. But it's to do with like things where the British government is violating like what they'd consider like first world government things. And I know that is a bit hypocritical coming from, some of the things Trump's done recently. But I do find it funny that that's probably going to be making Kia really butthurt over the thing of like, oh no, Donald, you can't say we're not a first world country and we don't value people's privacy. Over there, yeah. And then they'll probably try and make that illegal, Caesar. Oh, it's got to be a collective farm. If you have, they want to get rid of allotments, didn't they? That was one of the things they said about getting rid of not allotments. Getting rid of allotments was one of the things they were on about recently, wasn't it? Can't grow your own food on an allotment. Well, Kia saying, oh no, right-wing fuckery. Anyway, I know not everyone likes reform or whatever, and like I've said to people already, I don't actually know who I'd vote for in the next election because, there's quite a lot of different parties and a lot of politicians lie, but I think Niger said he's gonna, if he was in power, discussed having the RAF do like exportation flights, whatever you want to call them, like getting rid of people flights, like up to 5 a day, and everybody needs to be held in like some sort of offshore processing thing, didn't he, the other day? A bit like Nauru for the Aussies. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Saint. Like saying, the Tories and Labour are definitely the uni party. Deportation flights, yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Not exports, because I don't know if illegal immigrants, there's anybody interested in having those as an export. But yeah, but speaking about them banning allotments or whatever, or trying to like get rid of allotments, get the councils to sell land. So they were saying they were apparently that they're doing that out of spite because of Corbyn has an allotment, and Corbyn obviously has his own far left party now, Hezbollah. I hope Hezbollah takes away lots of Kia's votes, in all honesty. So, because the thing is with Corbyn is I absolutely despise his foreign policy, where he's basically like, oh, I want to be mates with loads of terrorists and they're probably all good people and all this. I do think Corbyn is at least a real socialist. I kind of would trust Corbyn, not that I'd vote for him, but Corbyn is one of those people that you'd kind of know from what he says what you're getting. He's kind of been the same kind of commie all his life, whereas Keir is blatantly one of those, oh, I am a socialist, please elect me. Oh, I'm just another Tory as well. Yeah, because the funny thing is, a lot of actual proper commies are nationalists. This is the thing. The far left is a horseshoe theory. The middle things are all the same. Far left and far right are actually quite similar. Yeah, and this is the thing, though. I don't know sodium chloride. Most of them go through like a dozen safe countries to varying degrees of safety to come to the UK, because basically the UK has the best benefits system for them. Probably was Saint, but that maybe he was like, oh, that's what all the popular young kids are doing. But yeah, apparently, yes. So, but it's because if you, and again, I kind of don't blame the illegal migrants for this, because like, let's say you were picking from a load of countries you wanted to end up in, and there's one that even if you get rejected, it's probably going to take years, and they're going to put you in a fairly nice hotel or whatever, fairly nice accommodation. You're going to get like 3 hot meals a day or whatever it is. They're going to give you fucking food allowance and whatever else they give you a free mobile phone, all this. You can probably go out and commit crimes and then never get in trouble for it. If Britain was the country there, that was the outcome, they'd probably be like, that's the one I want to aim for. Because again, if we didn't treat them so nicely when they came over here, there wouldn't be like the pull factor, would there? Because if they thought, if I come to Britain, I'm going to be put in some squalid, you know, like really shitty accommodation, and then have my asylum request looked at, you know, fairly quickly. And then obviously, if I am a chancer, it will get rejected and I'll get deported. And again, I really don't get with all the illegal immigrants why they don't have all their like dental and DNA and all that taken. So if they ever come back, we could just immediately deport them again. And they should be doing dental stuff and whatever for all the ones that are like 30 and 40 claiming they're like 16 or whatever. Yeah, exactly, Scott. That's what I'm saying, you know, that they go through countries where they'd have to work more or whatever, and they don't claim asylum in those because they know the UK is the one where they can just take the piss. And like I say, that's probably like you're saying with, if you're in America, it's a similar thing that they probably know if they get to America or Canada, there's lots of people that will just give them everything. Even if there's homeless people in the US or Canada, they'll get put in front of them. Because again, in the UK, you've got the problem that although, you know, everybody has free healthcare at the point of access, it's obviously paid through by taxation and everything, the NHS. There's often long waiting lists for stuff on the NHS unless you go private. But apparently lots of illegal immigrants are getting to the front of the queue as well because they're getting just chucked at the front of the queue when they're processed and put onto the system, rather than being told, oh no, you're going to have to wait 2 years for this. So yeah, I'm a far-right channel, according to Keir Starmer. We're all far right now. We're all far right now. Do, 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 do. We're all far right now. But, you know, personally, I think I just have a sensible opinion about this stuff. And I think most people do. But I think everybody here is being gaslit by, you know, these kind of stupid, weird NGOs or whatever they are that, you know, tell you, no, do everything that's not in the interest of your country or your people, or else you're racist. There are parties in lots of places that are in the middle, Caesar, but they always tend to just pick policies that are more watered down from either left or right. Yeah, no, I know both people, obviously, who are kind of right-wing who hate him for the fact he's fucking Keir Starmer, and I know people that are socialists that hate him because he's not a real socialist. So he's genuinely one of those people, I think, who is just disliked across nearly all groups of people. Because everybody looks at him and thinking he's just this ungenuine, lying sort of person. And one thing, I can't remember which comedian it was that said it. I think it was a comedian that said it. Apparently, if you watch videos of Keir Starmer and turn the audio off, he looks like a real proper psychopath if you're looking at videos of him with no audio. I'm going to test that right now. Right, let's find the video of Keir talking. Keir Starlin. Right, let's find on a Keir Starmer talking. I don't want ones that right, statement on the crisis in Gaza. I'm going to say, right, mute it. So again, he has that weird kind of commenting it on this, in like he has that weird kind of slightly puppety animatronic look, uncanny valley look. He's not really frowning or smiling or anything. He has this kind of weird dead look to him. Has he shaved his eyebrows off? He shaved or dyed his eyebrows. That's really weird. Yeah, he kind of looks like a weird action figure to me. I am the Keir Starlin robot, like action figure. You can buy me and dress me up in Lord Ali's suit and glasses, and then I will oppress the British people. No, there's something very wrong with that man, in my opinion. Like I said, yeah, I am not going to insinuate anything myself, Rich, because of the fact that, you know, I don't want to end up as one of the many people in the gulag. But yeah, I mean, but this is the thing. So many people, if you listen to things that are critical about Keir Starmer, just say there's something really off about the guy. That, you know, there's a lot of pictures of him where he does just look like a psycho, especially one of his old barrister pictures where I'm sorry to hear that, Mr. Ultimatum, man. Sorry, or Ultra Newman, or whatever it is your name. But yeah, so you said your aunt is in need of surgery and it is continuously being pushed back, but she found out the hospital staff it was because of the floatings are being given priority. That would really not surprise me. Again, I have no way of verifying what you just said there, just for the sake of context, but would not surprise me because, like I said, apparently that's been happening in other areas of the thing. And apparently there's well over 100,000 more people registered with GPs in England since since all the illegal immigrants started coming in, even though we were being told they wouldn't be given all this stuff. Yeah, I don't know, Scott, if Kia has crazy eyes or just kind of soulless dead eyes. But again, it's kind of weird because the word for use for liberal in the US is completely opposite of what liberal means here. Like liberal in the UK and traditional European countries, a liberal was kind of more like a George Washington type person, in all honesty. Like the old word for liberal here was, the person who didn't want taxes and big government and that. But yeah, so I suppose, so liberal in the US is more like a lefty, isn't it? Yeah, I won't read that out, Saint, just because of it. It's a bit horrible for the stream. But yeah, like Lucy Connolly got out the other day, didn't she? She got let out early, and she's already doing interviews about how she was basically a political prisoner. And I did see regarding stuff like that, this was actually a white bloke, so it wasn't anything to do with any of the grooming gangs. But there was a white nonce that had diddled kids, and he got a suspended sentence. Yeah, libertarian. Yeah, but I mean, saying sort of a classic liberal over here is kind of a libertarian type. Again, now we have the Liberal Democrats that aren't like that at all. So yeah, I suppose we kind of adopted your form of liberal as well. But back in the very old days of the UK Parliament, we had the Liberals, which are one of the parties, and they were very much more like the pro-American style party. Back in the sort of Victorian type era. Right. There was a channel I watched the other day, I don't know, sodium chloride, that basically came up with 3 things that could happen in the UK. 2 that aren't super likely, but the one in the middle being the most likely, but it could go either way. So number 1 is, wishful thinking that the government suddenly listens to people. It stops all these illegal immigrants coming in. It starts fixing things, and people's quality of life goes up. And they thought that's not very likely. The most common one they thought is there's going to be lots of civil unrest that starts becoming more and more common. More things start breaking down. There's not a full-on civil war or anything like that, but there's lots more riots, lots more protests, lots more people going on strike, people losing their jobs. Just the country gradually going to shit, and the government trying to arrest people or whatever for having opinions that aren't correct, kind of thing. And then they were saying the other extreme it could go to is where that sort of situation means that there ends up being some sort of coup within the army or whatever else. Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I'm just sort of saying that, with YouTube, sometimes they can get a bit funny about all that sort of stuff. Velocity Voyager, I don't know if I do remember you because I get so many people on these streams and often they change their names and pictures as well. Yeah, priority should be the people who have been here that have been paying taxes towards it. Because again, I know a lot of people that can't really afford to, but have been forced to have private medical stuff recently, just because of how long the waiting lists have been. Where they said, I can't really afford to spend this money on this, but I'm going to have to spend a few £1,000s for, an operation I really need because I can't do anything if I have to keep, struggling on a waiting list. Well, a lot of people, Scott, think we're kind of skyrocketing in this country towards V for Vendetta. So I don't know if they mean we're skyrocketing to the point of the ending of V for Vendetta, or the party being established in V for Vendetta, like Northfire. Although Kia isn't really Northfire because Northfire is kind of a bit like a parallel to Austrian painter with a funny moustaches party. But yes. England prevails. Yes. Although looking at the UK of V for Vendetta, it does actually look like a better place to live than the current UK we're in. So there's that. I suppose it's going to kind of look like Children of Men, isn't it, actually, the UK? So yeah, let me just refresh that thing on some of the protests. Suspicious orders. No, I've not heard of this at all. Again, another thing Saint you're bringing up that sounds very Orwellian that I've not heard of. Let me search this. Suspicious orders law. Is this the Financial Conduct Authority thing? Let's have a look. Reporting suspicious transactional orders, market abuse. This is from 2021, and it's updated something from 2016, so I doubt it's that. But no, nothing that I'm googling is coming up with that exact term. So you might have to tell me how to. But is this where you buy stuff and they don't like what you're buying? What, like I'm gonna buy a load of steel pipes and fertilizer kind of thing because I thought you'd already get done for that. Is it that kind of logic, or is it something completely different than that? Yeah, Scott, also, one thing that Ukraine has really made me realize is, like, you know, it doesn't mean it's the meta forever, but considering how easy it is for people to build FPV drones and the grenade dropping drones, where people originally used to say, you know, if a civil war anywhere ever used to break out, the government will win because it's got planes, it's got tanks. With how, like, easy it is to get FPV drones and, you know, grenade dropping drones, I don't think that's really a thing anymore that gives the government any huge advantage, because you know, if it's considering, you know, in Ukraine we see that the FPV drones are essentially an FPV drone with what, like a battery pack strapped to it and then an RPG warhead or some kind of explosive on it, you know, and it can be flown by fiber optic if you're worried about jamming. That's kind of, I think, yeah, exactly. Fiber optic drones can't be stopped unless you have loads and loads of layers of netting everywhere, which is just completely impractical. So yeah, this is the thing. And again, like I said, I need to be really careful. I'm definitely not encouraging anything here or whatever. I'm just sort of saying it's just one of those things that when, especially when people talk about, like, you know, civil wars in America and stuff like that, the idea that it would end up like Waco because the government has tanks, or one faction of the government forces have tanks and planes, I don't think is really a thing anymore, considering how, you know, cheaply hobbyist drones can be weaponized now that we've seen through Ukraine. And I know other conflicts before Ukraine were kind of having it, but I think Ukraine is the one where you see, like, the entire Russian army is basically ground to a halt because there's this entire sort of no man's land where just drones can hunt tanks and people. It's and Ukraine's built its own sort of interceptor drone now for anti-aircraft use, which is quite interesting. So it's cheaper than a guided missile. It's kind of like an FPV drone that seeks out Shaheds, I think it is. Yeah, and all like the spider's web of fiber optic cable laying absolutely everywhere. Yeah, but you'd have to be aware it's coming first, Scott. And a lot of the time you see from the FPV footage, nobody's even aware the drone's about to hit until it hits them. And again, the Russians have been fielding some of these anti-drone weapons, and a lot of them don't work as intended. Yeah, Ukraine now as well was built. If you have looked at the Ukraine's Pelican assembly line, they've got this like really cool V1 looking rocket called the Pelican, and the Pelican is basically like I said, it's kind of like a modern V1, and they think they're going to soon be able to start making, I think, like dozens of these a month or whatever it will be, and they're ones that can hit into about 2/3 of Russia. Exactly, Scott. Because again, this is the thing. It's like, yeah, because again, when people are like, oh, why don't you just look up for the drone and all that? I think there are situations where you could probably be really on guard against drones. But I imagine as people get tired or they're buttoned down in vehicles, you know, and their view isn't as good, the chance of like seeing a drone that's really high altitude, especially if it's not particularly loud, you know, getting to you and then, you know, scrambling before it's too late. Especially even in videos where there's guys with you know, like auto shotguns with bird shot in, and even then some of them are struggling to hit the drones as they're like zooming in on them. So yeah, I just think that's one of those sort of interesting things that's kind of changed the narrative a bit, you know, around oh, that'd be good, Rich. The DJI drones are really good. I mean, there are cheaper drones, but right, Alexei, but DJI are the ones that like I've got one of the lower end DJI drones, and it's very, very good. I just don't use it very much because I'm so close to an airfield. I technically aren't meant, you know, I'm not meant to use it unless I go a certain distance from the airfield. I have done videos of it before. And DJI drones are, I think, some of the ones that have been. All drones have back doors in it. Again, but DJI is the world leader in drones. This is the thing. And again, like saying, I don't know if there's any. Yeah, we won't talk too much about that. Scott here, not you're not in trouble. It's just that that's one of the things I know YouTube gets very funny about that conversation. But yes, I have seen in Myanmar or wherever it was, Burma, Myanmar, that those combined with drones were what was really giving the junta or junta, how it's pronounced, a lot of trouble. Yeah, so there's different weight categories for different licenses. Yeah, I don't think the problem is you talking about it being Myanmar or whatever, Scott. It's just the 3D printed stuff. I'll just say, yeah, let's not talk about too much about 3D printed stuff because it's just more YouTube has an issue with the whole 3D printed discussion. Not like I said, I don't even own a 3D printer. That is one of the things I'd really worry about in, say, somewhere like the UK. If you owned a 3D printer, how much easier it would be if the police arrest you for something really minor to then say, oh, you were making terrorist kind of stuff using a 3D printer. Because like one of my mates has got a 3D printer, and that's like one of the things where he mostly just does it for like arts and craft stuff. But you kind of always wonder, don't you, if like they then thought, oh, these memes say you're like, you know, some far right kind of group that were on your PC in a 3D printer that then means, oh, you could produce all these things even if there's no files on your computer or whatever. Oh, I had a message on Discord. I'm just going to say streaming now, by the way. Yeah, like I said, 3D printers themselves are very good for, yeah, repair stuff. And I've seen loads of things where people have made like battery capsules using 3D printers to fit into various electronics and stuff like that. Like, I definitely agree with you. That is one of like the really nice, legit uses of them. Seems to be, yeah, like making little accessories for things and like you know, repair parts where you might need a specifically shaped thing, you know, and you don't want to like grind metal or cut wood to the shape. So you can just print a bit of plastic or whatever that fits the bill. That's the point. I've got an eBay parcel that was coming that was meant to be delivered by today. And I want to check what courier it's coming with. Yeah, I've messages, respond now. Are they important messages or... Okay, so that's just one of the yeah, that's not telling me anything about my order. Right, so estimated delivery. Oh, they've moved the delivery thing backwards. Have they actually given me a tracking number? Oh, I see. It's not even coming from the UK, so it's one of those dodgy sellers where Yeah, I mean, not really dodgy, but it's one of those fucking drop shipping sellers I think I've bought this item from, where I could have probably found the same thing cheaper on AliExpress, and I do usually use AliExpress, but this wasn't so expensive. It will be video related definitely when it comes, but yeah, it's one of those things that, yeah, it's just because I thought it said on like 48-hour delivery, but it's obviously 48-hour delivery when it gets to the UK. But yeah, let me actually have a quick look, because I'm interested in if this particular item is on AliExpress now. Oh, it is, but that's good. It's only like 10 quid cheaper on AliExpress, so I've not been stupidly out ripped off. Okay, good. Yeah, I was worried then it was one of those things where, you know, I was going to go on AliExpress and find out it was like a third to half the price and that I should have checked there first, but no, that's all right. But again, I did think it was one of those things annoyingly where they made it look like it was a UK seller with the stuff in. I mean, you could put an S10 bag on it with a PAPR system if you wanted to, but I want it set up with my C50 in all honesty. And like I said, I'm not too fussed if some of the bags on mine are camo bags and some of them are and some of them are like the first aid kit, which is like that orangey red color. Yeah, Scott, it's just I've sometimes seen like sometimes of those sort of things, you know, where the seller does stuff like half the price, even including the shipping and everything on AliExpress. But yeah, that's all right then. It's not anything sort of that annoying. But like I said, yeah, there's been times when I've literally looked on like eBay and AliExpress, found the same products, and on AliExpress, you know, they're like £50, not £100 or whatever. But yeah, the S10 bag doesn't have as much space in it, bear in mind, as the GSR bag. I mean, it's kind of a bit bulkier in one direction. Yeah, you can, but you'd have to get all the stuff to go in them, wouldn't you? Like I say, and that's the thing, Saint, because like I said, the reason I've got that particular fit bag is because it came with everything in it, and it is a molly bag, so it's not a problem. I've never had any issues at all with AliExpress. I don't know, sodium chloride. Like I said, to be completely honest about it, I have got an affiliate thing with AliExpress. So it's one of those things where, you know, often if I review a gas mask and it's any good, I then do an affiliate link to AliExpress, so I get a bit of money back from it. Oh, are they going to multicam, Scott? I really hope they're not just going to multicam. Because I did see at one point Germany was going to do like a multicam version of Flecktarn. You know, so like multicam colors, but the Flecktarn pattern. Oh, for fuck's sake, yet another one. So, oh yeah, another cool, unique camo. Oh no, yeah, because speaking of, it's too hot to wear it this time of year, but I did know I had it in here. Yeah, so let's get rid of a really cool, nice camo like this. You know, even though they did come up with a multi sort of color variant of this. Yeah, let's get rid of this and let's just go to fucking multicam like everyone else. So everybody's troops look exactly the same and they all have to differentiate themselves with coloured armbands. Don't do any right wing fire. I've seen it before, Rich, but never bought any. I've seen it sometimes as gloves, but I haven't. And like, I know they do the vest, but I don't think I've ever seen the vest for sale. Yeah. So. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that is annoying. The fact that Germany, like Belgium, getting rid of Belgian Jigsaw. Who are some of the other countries recently that are getting rid of cool camos to just go to multicam? Again, like I said, multicam is a fine camo in itself. It's just the fact it's become so soulless now that every country is using it to the point that it's kind of like there's no distinction in camo uniforms anymore. Because it's like, you know, you can see that and you go, oh, look, that's old Woodland DPM. I know what that is. And I've got this quite faded, but an old, oh, the sword's impaled through it. I'm not impaled through it because it's not actually. But like you could look at this and go, oh, look, this is that funny old Italian camo from the Cold War. which is kind of a bit like Belgian jigsaw with its colour pattern, you know, where it's got quite a yellowy kind of colour in it. This is very much like a Belgian jigsaw kind of camo, but it's the Italian Cold War one. But yeah, it's that kind of fucking thing, isn't it? Where it's like, let's remove all the individuality and coolness from all these things. Yeah, and also some countries are a bit annoying with exports, aren't they? Like I said, I was lucky enough to get that South Korean K3 not that long ago. You know, their kind of C50 knockoff. But oh, if it's multi-tarn, I don't mind as much. Because like I said, multi-tarn was the one, like I was saying, it wouldn't bother me as much. But it's just the fact that so many countries just use multi-cam now. So it's always the same, like, splodge pattern, always the same colours. Right, Metro 2033. Didn't initially like it very much when I first played it. Played Metro Last Light, isn't it, the second one? Liked that a lot more. Years later, replayed 2033 Redux and enjoyed it a lot more, but I think that's because I knew more what sort of game it was. Exodus, I keep fucking meaning to play and still never get round to playing it. MMPU, let me look that one up. It's this marine multi-pattern uniform. So it's like grey multicams. It's kind of like old urban camo, isn't it? That's cool. I like that. Is that so North Korean troops can get a bit closer to the enemy on the battlefield before they get shot at? But yeah, Exodus is more open world or something, isn't it? So I might actually like Exodus the most because of that reason. But again, it's just one of those annoying things that it only ever gets brought up while I'm on the stream and obviously not able to play it because I'm doing something else. Or I think to play it while I've got a load of games that are currently like on my backlog of stuff I need to do. Whenever I'm bored and haven't like got any games I currently want to be playing, that's when I never hear it brought up, Exodus. I never think to install it off my Steam list. Like, you know, my huge Steam library of games bought in sales I've never played. That's kind of annoying, Ben, even if... So, what? Because it just doesn't even blend in. I suppose because if they're doing it in European theatres or whatever, because again, I think everybody went to multicam because of Afghanistan, and we're not even over there anymore. And again, most of us in Europe now are worried about a war in Eastern Europe, not in, you know, wherever in a desert country or an oasis sort of, you know, Middle Eastern country. We just sort of shouldn't go into those countries, and we wouldn't need those camos. So, yeah. Let's update this thing on the stuff going on today. Somebody has a sign saying, "Deport racists." No, because they probably paid tax money into the country and they're probably not racists. And there's, again, all the mass-produced signs for the completely thing. And also Palestinian flags, because, you know, it's not like Hamas would like these people at all. Yeah, and then there's just some more pictures on this Telegraph thing I'm looking at the moment. Oh, hang on. Let's look at some cope. So, English flag protests intimidating residents, council leader says. Far-right groups accused of hijacking campaign displaying St. George's Cross across the country. Yeah. Oh, it's the fucking English flag. Look, it's intimidating to people. Who would it be intimidating to? Yeah, who does that flag intimidate if you live in this country? If you find the flag of the country you live in intimidating, that says more about you than it does about the flag. Yeah, is Omani DPM the kind of red-looking DPM, like the reddy-orange-looking DPM? South African S2000, I think that might have been one of the camos one of my mates got some of. Yeah, one of my mates managed to get some S2000 camo the other day, and some genuine old Rhodesian brushstroke. I was saying about this in a stream the other day, because he works in a charity shop, and Transport for London randomly donated it. And because it had obviously been in the lost property for like over a year from one of the buses or the trains. And he immediately was like, oh, can I just buy this to the other workers in the charity shop? And they were like, yeah, of course, before it went out on display or whatever. So yeah, he bought a load of old Rhodesian and South African stuff that was randomly donated to the charity shop. Yep, Alpenflage, Scott. Regarding Alpenflage, I don't actually have any in here handy, but I have got, like I said, I am going to make a custom helmet cover for one of my helmets with one of the old Alpenflage covers if it fits the helmet. Again, another camo I like is both this one, not the country that actually issued this stuff because they were a bit bad, but don't know how well you can see that, but this camo is a camo I really like. Let's get out the bag so you can see it properly. Again, I've never put this on a helmet, even though I've got the helmet to put it on. Now, that camo is one I like, and I like the Russian variant of it, SS Lito, or Fracture as it's called. I think the jizz that I know you're taking the piss and you're having a laugh, but yeah, I think if that flag alarms you, you should probably make sure you get your nappies on and whatever else. Yes, this has the more brown reverse side, like the autumn one. Yes, it does. This isn't a genuine one. This is just like a reenactor's one. But yes, this is the yeah. So it's got the reversible color on there as well, like the autumn version. But yeah, I prefer the one that has the more green in it because obviously it's still got brown in it, but it's yeah. To go on my Stellhelm. But yeah, I wonder if that would fit some of my other helmets as well. Because that is, again, that is quite, I do like that camo a lot. You know, like I said, don't like the country that wore the camo. That's a very different thing. But I think the camo itself is pretty cool. I haven't been on Varastelka in ages, or however it's pronounced. Because, again, the problem used to be they just used to do very expensive shipping to the UK. But let's have a look what they've got. And again, I keep saying I shouldn't be looking at stuff that I'm going to be tempted to buy. Again, Finnish MO5 camo they've got on there, I really, really like, but I'm certainly not paying that kind of price for it. So Ian camo, do they still do this? Is this like Ian McCollum's face on something? Ian Pat, let's have a look. Oh, so it's like a Wojaki kind of that face of Ian. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's actually quite cool. And it's sold out. And it was expensive, so it sold out despite how expensive it was. But yeah, that is pretty cool. Let's just search for radiation and see if they have any old Geiger counter type things still on. Nah, sadly, I don't think they do. Clearance sale. Anything good in the clearance sale? Like I said, shouldn't be looking at this because meant to be saving my money. Again, they've got Alpenflage in the clearance sale. Like we said, that's pretty cool. Again, I've got one of those French shirts there somewhere that they've got that. I don't know if mine was that generation, but the French Woodland again is a pretty nice Woodland variant. Ah, right, yeah. Selling it so you could just buy it in the fabric if you wanted to just make it into something or just own a bit of it on fabric. But yeah, anyway, I'll probably head off fairly soon because I have been on an hour now, and like I said, I want to keep a live track on what's going on with people protesting against the illegal immigrant hotels and the people who are being paid by the hour to call others Nazi scum at those said rallies. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. And in case Big Brother is watching, double plus good. As I said, I don't encourage any violence, anything like that. Like I said, I'm pretty fed up with the way things are in the country, but I don't in any way encourage people to do anything stupid because that would be stupid, wouldn't it? But yeah, anyway, like I was saying, this mask is actually quite nice. So if you didn't see the video I did on it earlier, watch the video because enough people complain when I upload a new gas mask video that I've not uploaded the gas mask video in ages, and then they haven't watched the video. So okay, so the Jack Pipe one, that would be like just a is that a bit like a mossy sort of mossy oaks kind of one, that kind of thing? It's got like a double chin thing on this. That's pretty cool. The oral nasal cup's got its own little chin guard on it. You can't see that from that angle, but that's again a thing that makes those masks more comfortable. It's just kind of a pointless little feature. Again, not pointless, but you know what I mean. One of those features you'd rarely see in a mask, but it's a good thing they've added it. Anyway, I will head off anyway, as I was saying. Where was what at? Sorry, I don't know. Sodium chloride. If you mean the one I bought, I think I bought my one off of eBay or AliExpress or whatever. My Chinese stuff. Yeah, I think it might have all been off AliExpress. The Stauhelm and the like the camo covers for it and that. I've also got the Alpen, not Alpen, because I'm thinking of Switzerland's distracting you now. The Fallschirmjäger one, that's what I'm looking for. I was going to say Alpen Fallschirmjäger, but no, I've got some Fallschirmjäger covers for it as well, but I think I prefer Oakley. Again, with a good old Stauhelm, I prefer the look of just the Stauhelm on its own. But anyway, I will be off, like I said, because yeah, like I said, if you haven't seen the video on it, watch that in a minute, because otherwise people won't watch it because YouTube won't share it with them, and then they'll say, why haven't you made a video on this gas mask yet? Oh, the light just adjusted itself to be brighter then, but I think the camera's already dimming itself. Yep. Good night. Oh, I suppose you're in Aussie land, aren't you? Yeah, good night to you then. It's good early afternoon to me. So yeah, won't be on tomorrow as said, but I will get a video filmed in a minute to go on tomorrow. Right, so see everybody Monday or whenever.